ever get hungry when you're browsing through Instagram? Sometimes you come across these posts about pancakes and vadas and fried rice, and your mind immediately starts imagining it, and you want some of that yourself. So, this happened to me last Sunday when I was going through Instagram and I came across somebody describing pancakes. And I said, you know what? I haven't had pancakes in so long. So let me go out and get myself a plate of pancakes. And I live in Delhi. I live in a society called Greater Kailash 2, which has a lot of restaurants around. So I went to about 6 or 7 cafes, and every time I went in, I said, "Do you have pancakes?" And they said, "Yes, we have Oreo pancakes, we have chocolate pancakes, we have butterscotch pancakes, we have pancakes with 6 types of ice creams, we have pancakes with bacon, we have pancakes with Kellogg's cereal, we have pancakes with strawberry syrup, fresh strawberries, and strawberry buttercream." And I said, "No, I just want pancakes. Do you have plain buttermilk pancakes with nothing but butter on top and maybe a little bit of maple syrup? That's all I want." And the thing is, the base of every pancake sold was the same. It was essentially a plain vanilla pancake. But none of the waiters could understand why I wanted something simple, why I wanted something free of all these flavors and fats and, sugary things added to it. And no matter how hard I tried, they couldn't give me what I wanted. So I had to come home and make them myself. This is Sonali Acharji, and you are listening to Health Wealth, a podcast where we will discover how to make healthy choices, but without losing out on the joy and simplicity of life. I remember growing up when my grandparents would speak of food, and every time they would say this to me that, "Beta, let the masala speak for themselves." Because I would say, "Can you put, some meat into my dal? Can you put some sabji into my dal? I don't want to have plain dal." And they would say, "No, plain dal with good masalas is as good as having dal with 10 types of things added into it." And as I grew up, life just took over and everything became so convenient. I can just walk in, I can get ready-made masalas of any type, whether it's from the Konkan coast or from Bengal or from even the Northeast. Everything is ready-made and it tastes good. But then when I go to a home where the lady of the house is cooking, and she's grinding her own masala paste and she's slowly letting the spices simmer into the oil, and that oil gets infused with everything and it's fresh. It's a different world, and it's a world which is not convenient, but it's joyful and I miss it. At the same time, apart from the convenience of food, we also have this social media allure of food happening, where we judge what we want to eat based on, what sort of response we'll get to it online. So you have things like rasgulla ki chai, milkshake, which has ice cream, a cheesecake, a lollipop, and more ice cream, like this humongous tower of sweetness. You have things like deep fried macaroni cheese momos or butter chicken momos. I mean, so it's innovative, yes. But is it satisfying? Does it touch something in your soul that, when you're sitting all by yourself on a Friday night, you can remember that meal and you just feel good about life? None of the foods that are innovative have ever done this for me, but a simple dal that my nani used to cook, even today, it brings back comfort. And that makes me wonder all the time, is the food that we're eating today, is it really good for our body and our minds? I mean, what's great about it? And instead of going to a doctor and asking a doctor to explain, how much fat there is in a milkshake and how this is going to give you diabetes or that's going to cause cancer, I thought, let's hear from the chef's mouth what's happening in our food industry. And with the sort of increase in diseases, particularly lifestyle diseases, what role does the food industry have to play then? So I have with me today Chef Davinder Kumar, who is the president of the Indian Culinary Forum. He is the Vice President of Food and Beverages and the Executive Chef at Le Meridian. Thank you so much for coming today, sir.
Pleasure, Sonali, and thank you very much for inviting me today uh, as part of this very interesting discussion. It's as a chef, uh, I have truly have had a 5 decade journey in India, abroad, travel widely. So I have a pretty good idea what happened used to happen 5 decades ago and what's happening today.
Yes, I know. And like, I know this much about food. Food is culture in a way. And like culture, food will evolve. It's nothing that stays stagnant, with new influences, everything changes. So there's no good or bad as such with food. But why is it so hard to find simple food today? When you go out, just simple, basic food without so much of tarkas and, meats and sugar.
Well, you have a point here. As a chef, I would say that food has evolved over the years today. Likewise, unlike fashion, music, likewise food. It may be uh, due to our lifestyle, due to our social media, and so on. 5 decades ago, when I joined this industry, there was a lot of simplicity, right? The food which we prepared and served, because we had very limited resources, we had limited expertise. So, and as the world has evolved and things have evolved today, social media has played a big role today. If you talk about any cuisine, let's say French cuisine, also from tradition to classic, classic to modern, then nouvelle cuisine came and is going back to that. All right. These are the changes which have even taken place, even our Indian food today. Indian food is not the same, though the basic remains,
Yeah.
because I personally feel that these changes with the demands, because today presentation
Mm.
makes a lot of difference. As they say, first your eyes, which sees and eat the food. So these developments have taken place that uh, we as chefs have also innovated foods. We have also created food. We have taken Indian food to the next level, as one would say, Amadagath. Why? The demand is there.
Mm-hmm.
We have It's not that, because I truly believe that any food we make, no matter how modernized we make it, how but the roots should be original.
Mm.
Authenticity is very important, because but at the same time, if we had not changed the with the time, as they say, hey, keep changing with the time, go in with the trend. Worldwide, you can see that food has evolved and it is evolving. Today, youth, for instance, they want to experiment. Earlier, it was all about simplicity. So they want to experiment, whether you were just now talking about, tandoori momos and all that. These are gimmicks which come on Instagram and all. They are not, they are shaft lit. We in our, working in a 5-star super deluxe hotel, we do innovate, but we don't innovate in this fashion that, you go. We also need to keep ourselves in pace with what's happening in
Mm-hmm.
that. But one thing I truly believe is that food should be simple, it should be fresh. That's what the philosophy I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Food should be simple, cooked with fresh ingredients, of course, quality, taste, and then we should not forget the health element.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's also very important now.
I agree.
So, dish which, for instance, I create, I play around with texture, flavors, taste, etc. But at the same time, don't go overboard. And that's
Yeah.
as my mother used to say that for good food you don't need those rich dry fruits. You can make it with namang mirchi
Mm-hmm.
also. You
Yeah.
can make good
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
So having said that, I think on one side we have home food, but at the same time we have hotel and restaurant food. You see, when it comes to restaurant food, we have to, improvise it. We have to give that professional. Those trans fat are there, no doubt about it. Although we are now post COVID and all, and especially as I would say, the food industry is entering a very thriving phase where people are becoming very aware about this, health element and organic and so on. And they don't mind paying for that, right?
Yeah.
So, looking at the trend that people, when they come to five-star hotel, especially, I'm not talking about dhaba joints and so on and all, they look forward to a healthy food. So we have traditional food and we have food which is when, let's say if it's a Rogan Josh, I give you an example. Unless you will see that ghee, you will see that Rogan, you will see that I can't cook Rogan, I cannot deviate from my standard food, right? But I can definitely create a recipe using olive oil, using, other fats which are, healthy.
Yeah.
This is a pure ghee or it's etc.
Yeah.
So those traditional dishes, uh, I never compromise. I have to do that.
Yeah.
It's different that today, as far as we are using fat, we have cut down on using of fats. As very rightly you said that the spices, they should develop their own
Yeah.
aroma and flavor. That's very important. So having said that, I think simplicity, good, preparing food with fresh ingredients, ensuring uh, taste and quality is there, and of course, wellness, as we talk about, nutrition part should not be missed.
Yeah.
That's what we need to even educate. Why we do that, because every recipe which I prepare, these elements are there. Of course, any dish which goes to a client must have that, multi-sensory. The moment you see that food, because I remember a guest I had served in a very, very interesting story that I had put up a yellow dal tadka on the buffet. And it was a guest who came to eat that food. And he was yelling. He says, I'm not here to eat dal tadka. I eat it at home. I'm come here to eat something rich, something delicious, something innovative, something different, right? So here, yes, of course, when it comes to a la carte menu, we have healthy options in buffet because ultimately it is you. When you have a selection of dishes before you, unless you have the awareness, unless you know what is good and what's bad, what's rich in carb, what is, good. So you cannot do that because I do find clients picking up food from the buffet with due respect. They do not know what they are actually eating.
I actually wanted to ask you this. Just as we expect chefs to know how to cook food, how important is it for us to start educating diners on how to taste and eat food? Because I think there's a lot of mindless consumption that happens.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that can, Sonali, only have if if you have that awareness. It took me a lot of time to create that awareness in me. Cooking versus eating,
Yeah.
right? Unless you know the value of each ingredient, when we get into this cooking profession, first thing is we are taught is respect the ingredients, know the ingredients. It's all about, when we talk about Indian food, it's all about, mixing, amalgamation of various condiment. That's what the technique is in cooking food, besides, of course, cooking. So, likewise, I think it's all about educating right from the root level.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember that my parents telling me that, look, eat something with the whole, whether it's an apple and pear. We said never. So today we realize that, look, the skin part is, the peel is more nutritious than the flesh itself. Something
Yeah.
of that kind.
I'm going to just think out loud a little with you on this next bit. When I go to cafes, right, or restaurants, there are three things which have taken over. One is Biscoff, which is a Belgian cookie spread, and Oreo cookies, and bacon. It's there in everything. I had cappuccino with bacon. It horrified me, and I turned to the waiter and I said, that's pig fat with salt. I mean, why is it in my coffee? And that's when, a friend was sitting with me and she said, oh, come on, the same old boring thing. Why do you want to have, jeera tarka? Or why do you want to have, same cocoa powder? It's all boring. So these new things are fashionable.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But for me, this country can never be boring when it comes to ingredients. I recently discovered from Uttarakhand bhang jeera and jhakia seeds. You go to Bengal, you have your panch foron, you have all these fresh masalas in the south. How can it be boring? There is just so much out there in terms of flavoring food. You don't need these easy mass-produced options. How do we get a better awareness of the wealth of what we have?
You see, it's all about educating right from the children, because I don't think there is any stage where we are taught about good and bad food, It's that. And your point of, like Oreo shake and, Oreo topping and all, this is what the youth is looking forward to. Very correctly, you said that they are now bored of eating dal makhani. They are bored of eating butter chicken. They want something more innovating. It may not last for too long, because if I give you an example of this coffee with bacon, one would say that it's weird, right?
Yeah.
Right. But these are those momentary things which come and go. These are the gimmicks which, come and try coffee with bacon rushes, right?
And bad bacon, not even good bacon. I would still have it if it was good bacon.
Exactly. So like my pancake you just now mentioned,
Yeah.
these are those savory pancakes,
Yeah.
I think today in our profession, it's very important to think out of box. Now I say out of box is beyond. There are no boundaries today. We are taught and we tell our youth also, because today youth has again, brilliant ideas as far as anything is concerned, right? So innovation has to continue, because innovation, creativity is the soul of
Food.
When we talk about upgradation and all, change is very, very important. This will continue. So I think parallel things would move. We have traditional and we have modern food. Today, all restaurants selling butter chicken, dal makhani are full, right? Then there are restaurants which are selling modern food, avant-garde food, which is again, especially millennials, they love to do that. So I think, but one thing very dangerous is that we should not go overboard. If we are, let's say, garnishing a particular dish, because things have now, technology has come in our food, which probably was not there. AI has come into this food. As I said, resources are there. 5 decades ago, the food which I prepared was just very simple, simply cooked, simply served. But today, food is one part. We have to use so much of innovation on. You must have heard about art of plating. Today, art has come into it.
Yeah.
Right? Artistic styles have come into it. Right? Same salad portion is very small,
now.
but it's more decorative, more interactive, right? So this is another phase. So futuristic food, many a time I'm asked. So these developments will continue, right? But one thing which is very important, which I tell my team also, that look, innovate, create, but make sure that the basics are not forgotten. The roots of the food, whether it is dal, you talked about dal. You may travel the world, but the real satisfaction and happiness you get in your dal chawal. Because, right, nothing can beat that, no matter you come from any part of the world. So, having said that, I think these things will continue parallel. Unlike fashion, you have traditional that you don't go, you have to have kurta pajama or whatever it is. Likewise, you will have that, but on the other hand, you have, I would call it a experimental food. I don't blame people who said, by I can make tandoori momos,
Mhm.
which is a very weird idea. Ask a a Japanese guy that we are making sushi tandoori,
Dal rice sushi.
dal rice sushi. Yeah, these of course
Yeah.
are. The other day I was seeing on social media
Mm.
they are making butter chicken spring roll.
Mhm.
Think of very damn. So the basics have gone now.
Yeah.
So we are thinking beyond now.
Mhm.
First, we were thought that think out of box.
Mhm.
I mean, if you have to present, let's say, a steak, present it, with a little artistic touch,
Mhm.
nice way that it looks beautiful, it looks appetizing. Ultimately, presentation makes a very difference.
Yeah.
The worldwide food, but as I said, that in my opinion, I think both will continue. You will have traditional food moving, restaurants are full,
Mhm.
right? Where you can go and eat your dal, pili dal, yellow dal tadka also. You can have fulka, you can have tandoori roti.
Mhm.
And on the other side, you have platforms, you have avenues where you get this kind of food. And this will, millennials, they want, as you very rightly said.
Yeah.
You know.
You're missing it. I- I'm going to talk a little bit about the affordability of food today. Because on one hand, we are spoiled. I remember I grew up in the 90s, and going out to eat was experience.
Right.
It meant something. You dressed up well, you sat at a table, the waiter would come, and there was a certain engagement with the waiter. It was a celebratory moment. Today we're eating out. I mean, if I don't feel like cooking today, I'll just order something. It'll come in like 5 minutes. It'll come cold, but it'll fill me up. I'll feel full, not satisfied, but full. If I realize that what I'm eating for 200 rupees is made out of garbage, literally some horrible maida and fat and some probably antibiotic dripping chicken, and I want to get good momos or dumplings from a really good place which will be high quality, it is so expensive. So then I'm left with either cook myself or eat junk. How can we make good quality food affordable, or is that just a dream?
No, I think you have places available where you do get reasonably good food, I would say that. It's not that by paying more you will get good food.
Mm-hmm.
It's the joints today. I think what you just now mentioned that today, as compared to 90s and all today, so many options have come, which
Mm-hmm.
we never had that. Today you have so many avenues available that you can uh, choose you as per your pocket. You know, you have, let's say, one class, B class, C class, and so on. And of course, eating in a five-star hotel still remains a status. But today, there are options. As I said, in hotel restaurant, you will get that touch as compared to home.
Mm-hmm.
Home food, as you very
Yeah.
rightly said about your nani, what she used to do. Likewise here, that food, why is it that so simple is? Because every ingredient is
Mm-hmm.
chosen selectively, every ingredient is respected, minimal fat is used, minimal spices are food. Whereas in other hotels and
Mm-hmm.
restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
we have to add that touch, as I gave you example of yellow dal tadka,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody wants to have a sumptuous meal
Mm-hmm.
because they are paying for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your question of that, why can't we have that food? I think it's your personal choice because you have, you know, some aunties momos being sold in South Delhi where there is a queue. I hate to eat that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the price they are charging, right?
You can't.
Ingredient was also like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not fair. I don't want to comment on what they are using.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm to say that it's your pocket. I think people have now realized that look, hygiene, food safety plays a very important role.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, and it's very very important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at our food in hotels, TK, it's status. It's a five. You have more overheads, but we do not compromise on the quality
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's ingredients, hygiene, food safety. That's the beauty,
Yeah.
right? But if you're eating food from roadside versus
Mm-hmm.
a mediocre restaurant versus a fine dining restaurant versus a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
so you do find that. But your question of also that home food, of course, we do have options available today. We have options available today
Yeah.
where we do cook home style food. People who are staying in a hotel, long staying guests,
Mm-hmm.
they get bored of rich food, they
Mm-hmm.
don't. So we have a provision because today we it's very important to meet their demanding home food. So we cook everything homemade, whether it's
Yeah.
khum matar, dal, dal tadka, it'll be different.
Simple.
It'll be exactly as my mother or
Mm-hmm.
your mother would cook that. So I think options are available. It depends what you want to choose. That
Yeah.
I personally feel that anything which goes into your stomach, you should not compromise on it.
Yeah.
ठीक है, if you can't afford it, don't eat it, right? Because in my opinion, I think food safety and hygiene is very, very
Mm-hmm.
important more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
anything else. That's personally.
I'm glad you said that because the FSSAI had asked for menus to have calories mentioned,
Right, right.
and I love that. But I wish it would apply to everything. Like for example, at least with packaged foods, I can turn it around,
Right.
and I know the breakup of the fat, the sugars. I mean, it's very much
It's
in
there now. It's
detail.
there now.
But do you think it's possible for this to be implemented across the range of outlets serving food?
Well, FSSA has made it mandatory now.
Mm.
Like in a hotel, all menus have.
Hotels do, but you
Uh,
won't find them in the cafes or the slightly
it's
mid-level.
catching up. Small joint, you will not find it.
Mm.
When we
Is it
talk,
difficult to do that, to calorie count what you're
no, it's not.
cooking?
Today, apps are available.
Okay.
You just feed in the data, you get all the they call it nutrition information. We
Mm-hmm.
do that protein, carb, fat, etc. But how many actually
Mm-hmm.
read that before ordering? When you have come here, that instead of eating chicken curry at home, I would eat butter chicken and
Yeah.
paratha and dal makhani, which should have developed butter, should have, topped up with a lot of cream.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't look at the calorie, you look at that. So this is
What you're
something which
ordering.
is, but frequent visitors, like people like you,
Mm-hmm.
who are very health conscious, for instance, and they look forward, are very particular about it. One thing I would certainly like to say that, as I just now mentioned, that the food industry is entering a very thriving phase and times are coming ahead that we cannot forget the wellness element.
Mm-hmm.
It is mandatory, it is our job as a chef. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
And I hope down the line also, these small dhaba restaurants, the focus has to be on these joints, which again, we need to educate them. We need to conduct, counseling them that why food safety. Because foreigners, when they come here, I'm just twisting this thing. Uh, there was a time they would say, by carry a bottle of water with you. Don't eat from roadside. When you go to their countries, you eat food is as hygienic as you find in a hotel. So this is something where we need to focus that because you are paying that price, you see, and
I agree.
hygiene is very important in my
Yeah.
opinion.
When I was, this idea of this episode came to me because I couldn't find pancakes. But when I was looking for someone, I came across your profile, and one of the things which really intrigued me was that you were cooking with so many foreign chefs way back in the 80s and 90s. And that immersion with global food cultures. Has anything you've learned about health or wellness through how other cultures or countries eat and cook?
Absolutely, I think here in India, of course, our food habits are such. Our food is little more greasier, more spicy, a lot of spicy and all. If you look at, I just had a Japanese food last night. you know, Japanese cuisine, for instance, it's milder on the taste. Of course, sauces are there, condiments there. So when you look at so many cuisines today, having widely traveled, you do pick up that element that would, when we very correctly you said, as your grandmother said, कि मसालों का टेस्ट आना चाहिए flavor. Likewise, I truly now I have started doing this, which is happening in other cuisine, is that play on ingredients, main ingredients. If you're cooking a mutton, what is his nouvelle cuisine? What is his modern cuisine?
Mhm.
Modern cuisine is different. It we work on ingredients. Like we take a lamb, we season it lightly, we cook that, and then we add other elements to it. Where are the traditional cooking has everything, ginger, garlic, tomato, all those spices, and cook bhuno.
Mhm.
Bhuno style is only in our Indian kitchen, Indian
Mhm.
cuisine. So those, of course, technology is available today, all right?
Mhm.
Uh, we use combi oven, we use modern gadgets, which help us in energy conservation. It enhances your efficiency. It reduces waste also. So it's this is there. So these are the techniques which I
Yeah.
incorporate into it. That today I'm using that if I have to roast a particular chicken, I have a combi oven where you have steam and roasting both,
Mm.
and it yields excellent results and gives you quicker. You save on all those
Yeah.
parameters.
Yeah. In fact, I recently, this summer, I was so hot in Delhi and it's so difficult to cook. You're almost like dying in the heat. So, a family relative gifted me an Instapot, which is those crock pots.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I hate to admit it, but it does make life much easier. I can turn on the fan and cook. So, there are ways to cook at home.
But not to forget your old traditional method of cooking. If it's you're cooking a sag in that earthenware pot,
Yeah. Oh, that taste.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's cooked
Yeah.
on slow fire, versus that you boil that sag and churn in and mixing and cook it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a so much a difference.
Yeah.
So I personally feel that slow cooking
Slow cooking.
we
Work.
do. I think we are going back to
Mm-hmm.
that. We have mod as I said, right, we have a modern that way. We have to do that. We cannot, otherwise nobody will come to you. No millennials will come. Because today I like to just touch upon this
Mm-hmm.
the international cuisines available in India and in
Mm-hmm.
Delhi. Delhi being a culinary
Mm-hmm.
hub, you have so many cuisines available here. So you name any cuisines there, whether it's Lebanese,
Mm-hmm.
it's Japanese, it's Korean, everything is there. So uh, people earlier it wasn't so. They were only used to the al makhni and butter chicken. Now they want to experiment. Kids also want to try that Mexican food. They want to, do that. They want something different, innovative. So I think these things. But your question of pancake, I personally feel that no matter how modern we may become, we must retain the basics
The
also,
basic.
because we should not deprive. Suppose you want to have a tandoori chapati or
Mm-hmm.
fulka, you shall not be deprived of that. That I have olive naan, I have
Mm-hmm.
sun-dried tomato, I have goat cheese stuffed kulcha,
Truffle oil
yeah,
naan,
truffle oil
which
naan.
doesn't taste of
Yeah, have you
truffles.
tried blue cheese
Yes, I did.
kulcha? Right,
Yes.
no matter is there,
Yeah.
but if you want fulka is not there.
Mm-hmm. I
So
agree.
I think we should not deprive of whether it's pancake. I refer to you what you in the beginning you said. I
Mm-hmm.
think all these topping aside, future is there.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take it more. Next step, you will see that
Yeah. Yeah.
all those funny ideas will continue. Whether they sustain or don't sustain is secondary, but it's alluring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
I
see,
agree.
wow, tandoori momos. Where is it being sold? I must go and have it. I may
Yes.
not have it second time, but I will definitely go in for that.
Mm.
Mm.
I'm going to ask you for some personal advice for those who might be listening now. So, recently I was watching two movies. One was in the 80s and one was based in a recent time. And in the 80s, the girl had her heart broken and she was very upset. Her lover had left her. So she went home and she said, Masi, Bua, Nani, unke saath she was crying. In the recent times, the girl had her heart broken and she met her friends and went out for cocktails and nachos, which is what we do now when we are stressed or unhappy. We turn to food and we don't have any idea how much of food we're eating. It's one of the reasons stress eating or binge eating,
Absolutely.
it's the biggest factor contributing to so many diseases today. You are surrounded by food where you work and good food. How do you maintain your health and how do you resist that temptation to eat? Because you
the
can eat anything.
the most difficult task
Yeah.
is to make menu for yourself.
How do you do it?
No, with the awareness, I'm only focused on healthy food, right? As I said, if you here, it's your mindset. The moment you have that awareness, as I keep saying, behavioral change is very important. And that temptation in you, more, more than one gulab jamun,
Mhm.
second, third, fourth, the temptation in you. I think it's all about your mindset, your how you start your day. The day you realize, it's your inner realization, as one would say
Mhm.
that look, I want to eat healthy. I want to eat healthy because, in my opinion, 75% is the food and 25 or 30% is exercise. So it's very important what you put in your mouth.
Mhm.
What I've done is I have stopped, I've turned 95% vegetarian because,
Mhm.
it's more, I don't say non-veg is bad. I prefer vegetarian. I'm not vegan. At the same time, uh, eating food which has less of fat, because you have three enemies, all those white: sugar,
Mhm.
salt,
Mhm.
maida. All these are your enemies. Fat is your big enemy.
Mhm.
Sugar, white. If you can take care of that, I think you have won the battle.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think it's as a chef also. If you know, look, that's bad. Don't put in that's bad. This is good. This is good. So you choose that.
Mhm.
So your question is that I plan my meal in such a way that I go in for healthy options. I think,
Yeah.
but sometimes you have to indulge in abundance. You see, once in a while you have to cheat.
Yeah.
But I think my message to people would be that behavioral change is very important. The moment you decide that you're not going to tell lie, you will never do that. No matter how many people can counsel you, eat healthy. But if you do not have that inner self,
Mhm.
you just mentioned that you are using drinking
Mhm.
shaka.
Mhm. Yeah.
How many people actually accept that is because
Mhm.
it's very challenging to make. Sorry, I'm touching another point
I
here.
agree.
When we talk about healthy food, there was a myth, भाई ये बीमारों का खाना है.
Ghas poos.
घास फूस है, steamed है, boiled है.
Mhm.
This is okay for hospital food. I don't want that. But today, God's grace, we have innovated cuisine without compromising on that taste. So beautiful, I tell you. You can make same roast chicken in a healthy way. You have technology available, you have style available. It's only that you have to apply that.
Mhm.
So I think diet is very, very important that you start understanding that. I would say that.
Yeah. My last thing is you wrote an entire book on salads, which most people, the minute they hear salad, it means diet, restriction, tasteless, ghas poos.
Yeah.
But salads can be so beautiful, not just to taste, but also the way it looks and feels, and that that feeling of nourishment that you're looking
Absolutely.
after yourself. So, is there something that you could recommend which is easy to make and satisfying to have that an Indian homemaker or a working person like me can throw up?
Absolutely. Sonal, I've written
Yeah.
a couple of books where one of the book is on salad, four season salad, I've called it. My first lesson tip would be that just Pick up seasonal item. Don't go into preserved food. In my diet, I don't eat preserved food at all, whether it's juice, with tomato puree, or it's canned tuna. Don't do that. And what is important is the best way to salad is just open your fridge, pick up what fresh is lying there, right? But only thing is that you should know the proportion. You need to add little protein also, whether they are, chanas or, all these. You can maybe
Mhm.
little paneer you can add tofu into it. It's all your cooking is all about imagination, you see.
Yeah.
So salad is no difficult. Salads, uh, the easiest way to make is salad. Whatever you have, gospels, you make a salad. But what you need to add is the most important, that you are not adding those vegetables which, uh, you know, salad is a very a complete meal, like a soup.
Mm.
When you have a complete, whether it's a khorswa, you're eating a khorswa, which is a
Mhm.
bowl by itself. It's a
Mhm.
meal by itself.
Mhm.
Likewise, you have a salad bowl. What is a salad bowl? Which comprises of everything, which has
Mhm.
protein, which has fat, which has carb. It's up to you what you are using.
Mhm.
You can't have only lettuce and very less of all these. And that the most important thing is that use fresh, wash them properly, seasonal, eat seasonal. God has, you know, the biggest problem we have is we are running away from nature. We should go close to nature and
Mhm.
see the beauty.
Mm.
Every, believe me, over the years, mm, all these spices and vegetables, God has put in so much of uh, nutritional wealth that you don't have to eat substitutes, right? So mix, eat variety. I always say that, behavioral change,
Mhm.
eat variety, eat in moderation, and do little exercise and have a very positive attitude.
Yeah.
All this put salad, your question. Then I would say that there are dressings available. You have two type of dressing. One is oil-based dressings. Others are other thick dressing.
Mhm.
I always make it with the juices. You can make with
Mhm.
puree. I
Mhm.
made the other a dressing with the carrot puree,
Mhm.
or little garlic, salt, pepper, and I've, yogurt-based dressings are there. So you can avoid those trans fat,
Mhm.
and of course, olive oil if you can
Mhm.
afford.
Mhm.
Nothing like that, but
Yeah.
I think a nice fruity dressing, nice yogurt-based dressing are fantastic. I think
Yeah.
so. Coming back to that, salad is nothing but your imagination, the cutting that should be, because it should be convenience. Where they say that when you do a cutting, it
Mhm.
should be that you can take a spoon of it.
Mhm.
So that'll be my message. I think use seasonal, just go natural, and
Yeah.
there'll be a great salad. And
But that's actually how you and I have come here because our ancestors connected to the soil and to the plants and found ways to do these ingenious things like make corn digestible or wheat digestible. And I thank you for helping us connect a little bit more to food today. So
I,
thank you for coming.
if you give me a minute, I would
Yeah.
like to add here. You see, the food, when we say has evolved, the biggest is that convenience food has come. I've spoken a lot on this junk food, as one would say that junk food is right, and youth is going in for that only. Convenience food while working on a computer, have a little burger, have a little wrap, have a little thing, without realizing that you are only eating carb, and you are eating and you are sitting on that,
Mm-hmm.
as I said.
Mm-hmm.
So I think convenience food, junk food, this is this is one of the reasons that people are having, because they compromise on diet. In my opinion, uh, one must pay a lot of importance to food.
Yeah,
Respect food. We don't respect food. Food is life, in my opinion.
it
God
is.
has made this so it's very important that we may earn as no darta money, but we don't have time to eat. That is the worst thing you could do. You must, or there is a saying, you eat to live, you live to eat, or you eat to
Live
live.
to live.
Choice is yours. And so this junk food, my message to parents, to listeners would be that at the ground level, at the children level, we need to educate them. There's no harm even I eat pizza once in a while. I eat burger once in a while. I eat wrap once in a while. But eating such food on a regular basis
Mhm.
is harmless because you are all that sodium and trans fat is hitting you. So my message to youth would be going for a healthy food, and healthy food don't should not be misinterpreted that it's for sick people. Healthy food means which is without rich in fat, rich in salt, rich in those
Sugar.
elements which are
Mhm.
sugar and white. Avoid these three white things.
Yeah.
That's I would say that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Uh,
sharing that. I think as consumers, we have rights, and it is somewhere up to us to make sure that these rights are honored and implemented. So, just like companies which provide your chips or your biscuits, they have to disclose full nutritional information. I do really believe that it's time we raise our voices and ask all those restaurants, those small cafes that are listed on our food delivery apps, what's in my food? Hey, what chicken is this? How much? You're saying you put sugar? How much sugar? What kind of sugar? Where does that sugar come from? Who's handling that sugar? When you're getting these healthy salads from this plethora of salad bars which has opened up, and I remember calling up one of them and said, I don't think this lettuce is fresh. And he said, I don't know where it's come from. And I said, but you're making it for me. How can you not know where it's come from? I mean, when did you buy it? Did you wash it? Because I could see those grains of sand on it. So it's not enough to just have a nice little description of what's there on your food delivery platforms. It's important to know a little bit more on the specifics. And I think it's only when we say that we want these things and enough people raise their voices that, the industry will take us seriously as well. Do you think that as consumers, we have the power to make such a change? And if you knew that the milkshake you're ordering is worth 800 calories, which is more than half your day's quotient if you're a woman and almost half your day's quotient if you're a man, um, would you have that milkshake then? Do you think it's worth the stress? Do you think it's worth losing your health? I'd really like to know your thoughts on this and your experiences with food and eating outside. You can write to us at pods@indiatoday.com, or you can message us on 8588 966 996. And if you enjoyed this episode and it contributed something meaningful and beautiful to your life, then please leave a rating for us. We're available on Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, and the India Today website. I still remember the first time that I was told I am pre diabetic. What am I doing wrong?
So, the first thing to understand about why this is happening is to understand two factors. One is genetic, the other is the environment.
Are there some steps which you would say are essential for managing diabetes?
Lifestyle management is critical in management of diabetes, and it is important for people to know that diet and exercise do play a very important role in managing their glucose levels. It's small simple steps. It's healthy, following a healthy meal plan and regular physical activity. Diabetes specific nutrition supplement in the form of oral supplement in consultation with a doctor for right nutrition could be one way of management of diabetes. Now, these are designed for diabetes, people with diabetes.
Take a few steps back and then lay what Purvi said a little more in context now. Some things have changed in our understanding of the management of diabetes. First thing is, I don't want to get into the big remission question, but we know that the key to managing diabetes is to help the patient lose weight first, and there the diet and we know that this can be achieved without medications. This can, and it can be achieved without surgery.